The way the board fell for the Detroit Lions last night couldn't have worked out better. All off season long, I was making my mock draft videos and you couldn't get a general gist or an idea of who was going to be there at 29. And it was annoying. You had quarterbacks flying in some mock drafts. You had offensive linemen flying in some mock drafts, wide receivers flying off the board in mock drafts. And some of the mock drafts kind of predicted defensive players to go late in the draft. So you never knew or never really had a general idea who was going to be there. And no one expected Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold to be there, where the Detroit Lions selected Terrion Arnold. I couldn't be more thrilled, and I'm glad Brad Holmes took the opportunity to trade up to 24 and take Terrion Arnold, man. He's going to be a stud, and he's another Alabama defensive back. Alabama and Iowa seem like a pipeline to the Detroit Lions. The last three drafts, besides Aiden Hutchinson and Jack Campbell, our first-round picks were Alabama players. J-Mo, Jahmyr Gibbs, and now Terrion Arnold. He's a massive steal. We got him right in front of the Green Bay Packers. Who knows, if we didn't trade up and trade or for Terrion Arnold, who knows what if the Packers would have pounced on him, man. So this is a steal. He's tough, he's long, and he loves football. That's one thing that I love about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell constructing this team. Every player that they draft love football. So when you're giving a player like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell a contract, they're not just going to, oh, here's my money, I'm not going to play football anymore. No, they love football, and they want to dominate, and they want to be the best player they could possibly be. And that's exactly what you're getting in Terrion Arnold. He's very good in press. He's got terrific ball skills, and we got talented wide receivers throughout the division. So when you're pairing him up with Carlton Davis can take off one side of the field, and that's what you're hoping Terrion Arnold can turn into, because he was a cornerback one in this draft. If he can live up to a quarter of that to be cornerback two on the opposite side of Carlton Davis, that's awesome. And then you're moving Amik Robertson into the slot where he excels at, and then you can move Brian Branch, who was former teammates with Terrion Arnold, to the safety position with Kirby Joseph and Ifeatu Melifonwu. Our secondary looks extremely better, 100 times better than it did last year. You don't have Kindle Vildor out there getting torched, and you don't have Cam Sutton out there getting torched. And then you got depth, because then you have Vildor that doesn't have to start. He can be cornerback 3 behind Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold, and that's awesome. And then you got Emmanuel Mosley, who's coming back later down the line, man. This is our secondary is 1,000 times better than it was last year. And it's only going to keep improving throughout the offseason. Now let's talk about the best players available in this second round. We don't have 2 picks today. We only have 1 pick, so it's extremely important. But who knows what Brad Holmes is going to do? Maybe he requires more picks. Maybe he moves back and acquires more picks. Who knows what Brad Holmes is going to do? But in the second round, there's a ton of good talent left on the board. And let's talk about these players. Marshawn Nealon, Western Michigan edge rusher. I wouldn't mind taking another edge rusher. If you added an edge rusher to that defensive line, the way you already revamped your secondary, your defense is looking scary, and your offense is already the tops in the league. Best in the league, if not in my opinion. So it would just be awesome to add Marshawn Nealon to that defensive line, or Chris Baswell from Alabama, another Alabama. And like I said, Alabama seems to be like a pipeline to the Detroit Lions, and I think Baswell is really good. If you watch his highlights, or if you watch Terrion Arnold's highlights, watch 41. Getting pressure on the quarterback. He's popping off the screen to me. So that'd be awesome if he falls to the Detroit Lions at 61. Or those wide receivers, if they end up falling Keon Coleman or Adonai Mitchell, and then you got the offensive lineman. I wouldn't be mad about drafting the offensive lineman. You need to get Frank Ragnall's replacement, and you need to get Taylor Decker's replacement in here. And the players that could play there are Jackson Powers Johnson, he's still available, and Zach Frazier. Those players were projected to go to the Detroit Lions in some of the mock drafts late in the first round. So there's some talent there still left on the board. I'm extremely pumped landing Terrion Arnold. Like I said, the board couldn't have felt any better for the Detroit Lions. Watching quarterbacks fly off the board. Like I said, I made a mock draft video like a month ago, and I was saying, if quarterbacks fly off the board, the offensive linemen fly off the board, and the wide receivers fall off the board, that's going to be extremely beneficial for the Detroit Lions, because there's going to be a ton of defensive prospects that would have been just sitting there in the 20s, and they could have traded up, traded back, whatever they wanted to do. Brad Holmes is a G. He's got this team in their Super Bowl window, and he added a stud. You can't complain about it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he does on day 2 and day 3. Let's add more talent to this team, and let's get rolling into this offseason and get this offseason program rolling. Our Super Bowl window's open now. One Pride, baby. Let's go. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.